Hello everyone, my name is Kiran Bhat and I'm one of the founding voices of Sambhashana. I'm an Indian-American polyglot traveler and author. I was born and brought up in a suburb of Georgia to a Karnataka family. But since 2008, I've been traveling and living all over the world. I've currently been to over 132 countries. I speak about 12 languages and I now live in Melbourne. And that's where we'll be doing this from.
Hi, my name is Ishita Kent. I'm a first-generation Gujarati American. I was born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia, but now live in Dallas, Texas, where I work as the marketing coordinator for an independent bookstore. I've loved books and literature for as long as I can remember. I think stories are so important, and I love hearing people tell them. I'm also really proud of my Indian heritage, and that's why I'm so excited to be one of the co-founders of the podcast of Sambhashana, which is the Sanskrit word for a conversation or a dialogue. Though I love books and literature, it wasn't as integral a part of my life when I went off to college. Not the same way it was for Kiran, who, once he graduated college, started traveling the world and writing his book. I was just kind of doing my own thing up until I got the job at Interabang Books. When I got the job there, I started hosting events that connected readers and authors together on a platform, and that was something very satisfying for me to see, and it was something that drew me back into the literary world. Like Kiran said, there's such diversity within the Indian diaspora, and we wanted Sambhashana to be a space to celebrate that. There are people of Indian heritage all over the world, and they each have unique stories to tell that are greatly influenced by their differences in culture. I mean, Russia is not the same as Guyana. Fiji's not the same as Kenya. However, at Sambhashana, we can bring those diverse voices together in collaboration to not only celebrate their differences, but to highlight their similarities through their Indian heritage.
As anyone who knows me will tell you, I'm a huge proponent and believer in the powers of globalization and internet and digital media. And I think now more than ever, like right now I'm in Australia, Ishita's in Texas, a lot of viewers will be in India, wherever, and we're able to connect on so many disparate lands to the power of the internet. So I think things like podcasts, things like, digital events are a great way to give exposure and to introduce people to people who they normally would not think about. And so I think we at Sambhashana have a really important role to fill in trying to bring more Indian diaspora voices of people who belong to the greater Indian conversation to a space where people from all parts of the world, including India, can learn about them and try to be a part of their worlds as well. As you know, AVID Learning is a collaboration space, and we at Sambhashana take collaboration very seriously. As you can tell, we are putting a lot of effort to broadcast something that will be partly in Australia, partly in the US, and also reaching a lot of other countries. And it was very difficult. Like, we have to deal with very different time zones. We have to deal with very different restrictions because Ishita lives in a country like the US where, you can go out and do so many things. I live in Australia where we are not allowed to even leave outside of a 5-kilometer radius. So there's a lot of difficulty. But we make it work, partly because of friendship and also because the internet allows it to work. We now live in a time, COVID made it even more like this, but we've always lived, at least in the last 5-10 years, we've been living in a state where digitalization has been encroaching upon the way that we physically view the world. And as that goes deeper, as 3D learning, as different types of elements of this go deeper, I think that most of our learning will continue to remain online. And it'll actually become more digital, if anything. As per the future, I'm not a soothsayer. I cannot predict that. But I do think that as artificial intelligence, as digitalization, as globalization continue on their trends, the world will continue to shrink. Borders will continue to be not necessarily erased, but kind of sublimated by a digital thread that's connecting everything. And as a result, collaborations like this that span place and distance are going to be just an inevitable part of life.